Hey everybody, how's it going? This is the pre-E3 Warriors Den. I believe we'll get a teaser next week, but this week all we got is that For Honor will in fact be at E3, and they will be showcasing something. What that is, your guess is as good as mine. Beyond that, the news from this week's Warriors Den is that there's a new Arcade Quest repeat. This one was played before, go ahead and play it again. We will be getting new Arcade Quests starting next week, as well as a couple more to go into the pool. We also have a weekly sale on executions. A bunch of executions are on sale. You can go ahead and pick those up for 4,000 steel instead of 7,000. If I'm not mistaken, it is one execution per hero, but it's a pretty good deal. If you like that one, make sure you pick it up because these execution sales are rather rare. Then we have this weekend's event. We did have this previewed in the roadmap. We have Hyper Duel. What this is duels with a ticket system, no rounds, immediate respawns. They will grant you a small health regen from getting a kill. You'll get much more health from an execution, as normal. So if you want to continue yourself between kills, you want to get those executions to get your health back, reset the duel. There's a small invulnerability period at the beginning of a respawn so that you can't just spawn camp them and kill them before they're ready with their controls again. But basically the title explains what it is. It is a hyper duel. You continuously duel over and over until you run out of tickets. To go with that, there's an event playlist faction challenge this weekend for Hyper Duel. This will give you some bonuses for playing the weekend event. I believe this is going to drop you 2,000 steel if you win, so go ahead and participate at least a little bit in that so that you can get some sweet steel when you win or lose. And then as a final bit of information on this stream is we have the arcade state of balance. They did some arcade tweaks, so they wanted to cover what they did and how they see those changes affecting the game. A few weeks ago, they did improve the arcade accessibility and addressed the difficulty for higher rarity quests. The way they did this was they reduced the recommended gear score for weekly quests from 162 all the way down to 108. That's an entire gear rarity, heavily improving the accessibility for what you're allowed to play, as you no longer need to grind quite as many levels before you can do a weekly. And to address the difficulty, they decreased the bot's success rate for defensive moves. This means that all bots perform slightly worse with anything defensive, a block, a dodge, a parry, or a deflect. From there, they showed us what the data shows on their end. So we have the difficulty played, and the difficulty played directly relates to how hard things are, and they see that common drops significantly when the weeklies are easy. We then have the success rate statistic, in which we can see that the changes they made in Year 3 Season 2, those made it much easier to complete and skyrocketed the success rate. This is exactly what they want to see. On the other hand, there's also the average length. This did the opposite of the success rate and plummeted. So people are completing the weekly quests with the new difficulty exceptionally easy. Less than half the time that they used to take. They don't really like this. They want these to take longer. These weekly arcade quests should be a little bit more of a thing for you. The last week was at 6.5 minutes. So not that great. They want them to be around 10. So knowing that, they're going to be addressing arcade mode further. Moving forwards, they want to improve the success rate even more so that people are always finishing these, but they also want to increase the length of the arcade modes. So what they'll be doing going forwards is, like we said, new quests. They will be giving us more arcade quests that aren't repeats. They will continue to monitor the difficulty because they do only have 3 weeks of changes. So they will be changing it more based on this data, but also gathering data from further weeks before making sweeping changes. They'll be modifying modifiers so that they have a easier way to tweak balance instead of the current sledgehammer approach of giving unblockables. And they will be improving maps for arcade mode so that we have less problematic maps where there's either a balancing problem in either direction, too easy because of too many ledges, or too hard because not enough ledges, or just to make them more fun because there's certain parts of it that aren't fun. That is pretty much the entirety of this week's live stream. It doesn't contain a lot of information and definitely no balance talk for the PvPers out there. I did think it was interesting to get some insight into what they think about the arcade mode balance and where they're going with it. So that was a really interesting dive for me. I'm hoping that you guys thought so too, because I just talked about it for 3 minutes. Beyond that, I'm excited to see what's going to happen next week, as I do think we will be getting a teaser for what will happen at E3. Ubisoft's showcase will be on the 10th, June 10th here, so we're a little bit over a week away. That's why I think we'll get a teaser. I do have a little bit of speculation, but it's mostly just hopes and dreams. And speaking of, if you have your own hopes and dreams for what you think might be shown off at E3, I'd love to hear them. I'm really interested in that kind of stuff, and just what you think the direction of For Honor is going to be. Personally, I don't think we're going to be getting anything too major, because we do have the Year 3 DLC already pre-ordered with the Season Pass here, and we have 2 more to go, so we're at least 7-8 months out from any potential new DLC that they could sell us. And I'm not sure how that would go showcasing that at E3 if it comes out next spring. That said, I would love for that to happen and be pleasantly surprised by the things I don't think would happen happening. Alternatively, they could have a spectator mode showcased at E3, and that would be quite something. They did just hire a new tournament organizer from the community into their competitive team so that she can design and direct competitiveness for For Honor and its future. Maybe that's where we're going with this. Now, after that bit of speculation there, I think maybe if I'm going to get any deeper into that, it deserves its own video, so let's go ahead and wrap this up. There's your Warriors Den. Not a lot of news this week, a little bit of arcade mode. For anyone who watched me all the way through, I really do appreciate you watching. I hope you have a great day, and I will see you on the battlefield.